What's good, my boy? Today I'm going to try to go a little bit deeper on the meaning of discipline. Title's going to be something along the lines of how discipline helps you control your own mind or something like that. And the reason why I don't title it some corny shit like discipline, take control of your life or some self-improvement type topic is because discipline does not allow you to take control of your life as a whole. Life as a whole is very unpredictable. Things can happen. Your mood can change like that day to day just from whatever, unknown. Maybe it was something you consumed. Maybe it was this. Maybe who we don't really know. As well as people can die. Crazy shit can affect your whole reality around you. We saw it with the fucking pandemic. Nobody could control that shit. Everybody's just locked in their house out of fucking nowhere. I remember it was like the most surprising thing. Just going about school, trying to graduate, and then all of a sudden this shit just turns into like this big thing. So many other aspects. In all, life is unpredictable. I practice kind of the approach of going with the flow. Not as a whole with everything, I believe you need to be disciplined. But if you approach life with kind of a go with the flow mentality and then instill discipline on top of that, that is where the true essence lies. Discipline is not this like little micro thing that people try to zoom in on and talk about. Be it someone talking about self-improvement habits, discipline in the gym, discipline with your diet, discipline with getting shit done, going to work, trying to make money, entrepreneurship, all these things that people label discipline as. It's more of a wider, broader thing. Be it routine, be it the ability to control your mind to not do something or do something. And really, consistency. I'll give you an example. Whenever I was 17 years old, it was summertime, out of school, fat. I used to weigh like 300 pounds. And the previous day, I'd play video games all day and didn't really get much exercise. But I went somewhere where I was working really hard, pulling up trees, doing tree work. And I was really getting into it. I was going and going and going and pushing myself for the first time in like fucking 5 years. And the next day, I woke up and I had abscesses on my body. Abscesses. I'm talking like I felt like fucking Frankenstein. They were painful. They hurt so goddamn bad. I'm going through all this shit in my head thinking that I'm a freak. Just crazy shit. And life fucked me for out of the blue. I'd never experienced anything like this. It was just, I woke up one day and I didn't have any discipline at the time. I didn't have any structure. I didn't have any way to deal with it besides figuring it out slowly over the course of years. And long story short, I ended up having an autoimmune disorder that flares up because I didn't fucking take care of myself at all. I lacked complete discipline in every aspect of my life. My life was all go with the flow, off of my own emotions, off of what I wanted to do. I was like a fucking big baby. I didn't really care about anything. And this has happened to me multiple times since then, where shit completely out of my control has happened to me. And luckily, I developed a sense of discipline because I got this random disorder that made me kind of get my shit together. And looking back at it now, I'm grateful that it happened, because if it never did, I would still be doing the same thing, directionless, with no sense of ambition whatsoever. That's a little bit of a ramble into left field, but practice going with the flow as a thought. Going with the flow is shit's gonna happen, so don't overreact. Don't make it like a 5-year thing where you're fighting against it. Go with it, but use discipline to guide you. You hear whenever people talk about go with the flow as a life philosophy, it's a lot of Eastern Zen, Buddhist, Taoist type things. They describe life as like a river, that you pick a river to go down towards something, and you can't really affected. But I wouldn't say that I believe. I think this has been expanded upon for hundreds of years by these same people. A sense of discipline is like a boat and a paddle to direct you down the river. You can't affect what direction the river goes or if there's a fucking waterfall at the end of it, but you can kind of affect not bouncing back and forth and just having all this horse shit. Another example, when I was more prepared that life kind of hit me, but I had discipline to deal with it, was, I'm trying to think of a certain one because it's happened multiple times. About, let's say, it's been 2 years, almost 2 years now, about a year and a half. I was randomly evicted from a home I lived in for 14 years. Landlord just came out of nowhere and said, "Hey, you got to get the fuck out of here, dog. Good tenants, always paid up. Get out of here." In the past, having to move hours and hours away from my whole life and everyone I knew and all this shit would have probably derailed me even more. But because I had a sense of discipline and a sense of structure, I was able to move to the new place, relocate, and kind of carve my way towards a certain direction, be it with artistic ventures or ways that I, career paths, I'll just say. I was able to not just like fucking sit around and pout and feel sorry all day, but actually be like, you know what, fuck it, dog. I'm just gonna move and get this shit done. As well as now, I would say this is probably the most disciplined I've ever been, even though I still struggle. I still struggle sometimes with multiple different things. I have a sense of self-belief and confidence that no matter what happens, I will be alright, and I will be able to keep my concentration on my goals. Even if everything I knew just exploded in front of me, I would still be able to concentrate on my goals. So to stop yapping about myself, let me explain to you certain ways you can instill a full discipline around everything in your life. You need some sort of, or maybe even a couple activities that you know you're going to do, that you do not want to do, but you're going to do them anyway, no matter what, daily. This is where a lot of the generic self-improvement habits come in. Working out. I was very into bodybuilding whenever I first started trying to get discipline. I tried to latch onto any sort of productive venture that I could, that in my mind I viewed as productive, so it would build my discipline up, because I knew I couldn't just rely on whimsically going with any sort of hobby or task. It had to be something productive. So I picked fitness. And it was the one and only thing for the longest time that I would just I was hyper obsessed with, so it made the discipline easy. But I still lacked in numerous ventures. So I had to kind of zoom away from that and spread this discipline throughout all these things. And that's where I come in with the multiple habits. I kind of took bodybuilding away and just used it as like a health-focused type thing. I still build muscle, still do like powerlifting type shit, but it's not just like the only focus. I put my discipline in my work. I'm a general contractor and I build houses. I show up every fucking day to that, and I get so much work done, and that's how I make my bread and butter. But I'm very disciplined with that, and I like to stay structured with it. Another thing I had to spread my discipline in was a hobby or an artistic venture. I have a couple. I do oil paintings, and I really have been enjoying making music. With these are the harder things to be disciplined with, because so many of the influences in artistic ventures are fantasized and worshipped as these like anti-disciplined, extremely go with the flow types. Whenever I say that, I'm talking about certain figures like Hunter S. Thompson or a Van Gogh, even a Tame Impala, how so many people see him like smoking weed, drinking alcohol while he's making his fucking music, years and years to make one album, because it's just kind of like, I just gotta feel it out. Or a Mike Dean who just stays high all fucking day. And the reason why I still respect and I still learn from these people, but you need to separate yourself, especially if you're in an artistic path. Separate yourself from these like fantasized, just kind of not druggy, but just like people who fucking drink and smoke and do all these drugs and just like art, and it's only whenever you feel like it, and that's the only time it's going to be good. Separate yourself from that and instill discipline into your craft. We can't control with artistic pursuits, or creative pursuits. We can't control when the inspiration or the ideas will come to us, but what you can control is the crafting phase of these things. And the crafting phase lies in anything. I'll take like my main job as a general contractor and put it on display. There's an initial period where someone gets an idea to build something for their home, and they have this idea and draw up plans, and it's just an idea in the head. We don't know where that came from. It was kind of random, the point that they decided to do it, and what they wanted built is kind of random as well. But what you can control is showing up every day, getting this shit done, trying to save cost on materials, and being disciplined with not drawing the process out for a very long time, trying to get it done quickly, but also remaining very quality with the end result. That is probably, it's not seen as construction isn't seen as a creative, artistic endeavor, but it really is whenever you really look at it on a grand scheme from beginning to end. It's all creative. It's just like making music. When you make music, you get an idea, or you start fiddling around with something, and it turns into an experimentation, and then it gets to a crafting phase, just like building and construction does, where you have to buckle down, kind of figure out what elements are going to be in the music, lay them out, play them with your instruments or your keyboard or whatever into the program or onto tape, and then you have another part of the crafting phase of mixing and mastering, and it's very tedious. And you can be very nonchalant and go with the flow with it, but it will take forever, and you might not get everything done. And there's the last aspect that I mainly want to hit on with discipline comes back entirely not by things you enact, but by your mind. Your mind will play tricks on you so much in life. It will play tricks on you with self-doubt. It will play tricks on you with hesitation. It will just do so many things, as well as like thinking about outside interference and outside judgment can also impact you. But having the discipline and developing the discipline to tune those things out and not listening to them, and actually just like for music producers, setting deadlines or just deciding, fuck it, I'm not going to continue messing with this, putting something aside and starting something new, so and so forth. Or if you have incredible self-doubt, having the discipline to just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to put this music out there. Or going back to the building, you really could. A lot of people don't do this because they have structure, and you have to have discipline whenever you're running a business, building things very consistently, because that's how you fucking make money, is not just staying on one project for like 10 years when it could have taken you one. It is getting it done in that 1 year and then going to the next, or getting it done in a couple months and going to the next thing. You could really spend, just like you could on music, or you could on a painting, or anything, creating anything that's not there. You could spend so much time fine-tuning this. Or I could fucking build a house and come back every single day and like take a fucking Q-tip and make sure there's not a smudge in this specific spot. over and over and over, just like with music, and keep tweaking and EQing and mastering and all this shit over and over. But to have the discipline, and I really hope people, you're understanding the analogy I'm trying to say, because these are the only things that I'm really interested that I can come off of with my personal experience and make an analogy about discipline about. But it's like you can meticulously keep doing this shit, but having the discipline to just say fuck it and put it out there is a very necessary thing. Just like having the discipline to tune out the self-doubt, tune out the judgment of others. All of these things are discipline. It's not just like having the discipline to wake up at 5 a.m., having the discipline to go to the gym, having the discipline to eat clean, having the discipline to not do drugs, having the discipline to not watch porn. See how there's like a million things. That's what I mean by this discipline is a complete control over your mind. And it works in unison with going with the flow. Because to instill going with the flow into your life means that you're not going to let hiccups and shit that is out of your control derail your consistency and your discipline. You're going to continue. As well as another thing, let's talk about taking breaks with certain things. I very often during jobs will I take 2 days off a week. I only work 5 days a week on construction. I take a small break to disconnect from that job, go and work on other shit, and not think about it. It's almost like a period of growth is a word that I'm thinking of, but it's different than growth. It's like whenever you work out, you break down the muscle and you have to take rest. You have to have rest and recovery to repair the muscle, and it grows bigger. It doesn't grow bigger because you work it out a million fucking times over and over and over. You have to take a step back I feel like there are many things in life that are like that. And having the discipline to take breaks and also having the discipline to go back into the work and not taking too long of a break or just giving up on it is very important. But then again, see, that's what I'm saying. Discipline follows you in every single thing. It is control over your mind, control over the module that governs what you do, what you enact, what you think. And if you can develop that, you will be golden, as well as is in unison instilling going with the flow. You really developing discipline, the going with the flow part can be hard and tricky, but it's definitely easier than instilling a sense of discipline in someone who is completely undisciplined. Someone who's completely undisciplined could easily go with the flow and just be like the fucking dude from The Big Lebowski, or you're not very disciplined, and you also just don't give a fuck about nothing, and you just kind of, shit happens, dude. It's like, you don't want to be like that. You want to be partly of like, shit happens, and then also disciplined enough to get things done. If that makes sense to you. It's really a balance thing. It's a balance thing. Because you want to be disciplined enough where you don't shut out the going with the flow and you start becoming super, super fucking like nervous and desperate and angsty, wanting things to be this way, and whenever they do, they kind of record scratch you out of your groove and out of your flow and out of your consistency. Because if you think about it like a pendulum back and forth, and discipline and going with the flow is in the middle, you have the dude, the Big Lebowski, fuck it, dude, like a mush person. And then you go too far, you have this like extremely like stressed out person because they can't just, I'm going to get my shit done. That's what you want. You want, I'm going to get my shit done. You don't want, I'm going to get my shit done. I'm going to get my shit done. And you don't want, okay? You see what I'm saying? You want to stay balanced. You want to stay disciplined, as well as being able to go with the flow of life. And I'm not perfect at this. My pendulum, for the most part, stays in the middle now. But every once in a while, I'll go this way, and I'll go this way. And one thing that's helped me with that is like certain tools like meditation, awareness practices, staying present and aware will keep you from insanity, keep you from tipping too far in one direction. And for me right now, the scariest thing is I've achieved this, like, not zen, not enlightenment. I'm not fucking a yogi, enlightened individual, but I've achieved this level that I really like. I've achieved this level where I very often have negative thoughts, and I also very often feel super, super, like, paranoid level driven to, like, get shit done. I feel right in the middle where I'm, like, comfortable. I don't live in comfort. I'm not a fucking mush where I don't ever work out or I don't ever do this shit. Quite the contrary. I do all the 5 a.m. type fucking habits, but I'm also in the middle where I am not angsty and desperate and stressed out. And I promise you that you can achieve that too if you heed my advice and really follow the message of going with the flow but being disciplined. I mean, what I'm saying is not new. I'm going to end this video so it's not 30 minutes. But what I'm saying is not new, bro. This is philosophy from, like, Eastern shit, from Buddhists and Taoists. You always see these monk people as, like, whenever I first saw them, I just saw them as, like, super disciplined individual. I didn't relate to them at all. I just thought they were, like, weird. Fuck's wrong with you? Why are you so disciplined? And then whenever I got extremely disciplined, and I was just, like, stressed out all the time on this, like, fucking digital nomad entrepreneur, fucking I'm gonna be Andrew Tate type shit, I was like, oh, those people are fucking lazy and don't really get shit done. They just go with the flow. But it's like, bro, these monks were, whenever I was a mush, I thought they were too disciplined. Whenever I was fucking stressed out, Andrew Tate person, I thought they were lazy and stupid. It's like, bro, no, they get it. They're in the middle. They're enlightened. They're balanced. That's what you want, my boy. Chase paper, enjoy art and nature. Have a good one.